podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Man United, we've got our trophy back. I thought it was really weird when the players were singing that in the dressing room. That's not our trophy.
No, it's not. A little bit odd. But that is 5 League Cups or something like that. So
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Well, it's silverware, isn't it?
Yeah.
Another shiny pot. Not the best performance from United. Entertaining game, though, wasn't it? And a fair chunk of fortune, although it probably would be fair to say that United have had a fair chunk of fortune throughout this whole competition.
When else did we get lucky? It all blends into one.
Well, with the draw. Including the only hard team we had to play, City playing their kids' side. The only way City could have played a weaker side is if they'd put out a fans 11.
I seem to remember they had some first-team players in that team, but no, yes, we definitely we did have a pretty favourable draw, and I guess we were sort of fortunate against Hull in the end. But yeah, I mean, we found a way to win, right? That's quite big, and
yeah, it's something to do with the linesman being absolutely blind and not understanding how offside works.
See this one.
Some determination from United as well. You know, another late goal. We've had a few this season. It's become almost a bit of a hallmark of the team. But along the way, some not great defending from United. But it made for an entertaining game.
It did a very good match for the neutral, as Mourinho slightly acerbically said in his post-match press conference.
Is there any tone that he provides that he's not acerbic?
Yeah, occasionally he does like incredibly jovial, and it always takes you back. Takes you back a bit when he does that. It does happen from time to time. Let's start with that goal. Obviously, he's miles onside, the guy that scores it, and the guy isn't. By the way the game is, the rules of the game are currently employed, it's obviously not offside. Loads of people have been saying, Southampton would have won if they'd had that goal. And I kind of feel like it's not like they had a last-minute equaliser ruled out for offside. They would have gone 1-0 up. It might have actually woken United up if they'd conceded a goal at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I can't draw a line between an unfortunately disallowed goal from Southampton's point of view and a victory for them at all. I mean, look, credit to Southampton. And I mean this in the most patronising way possible, you know. They did very well, didn't they?
Bless them.
Bless them, didums. No, they played some really good football. I thought they made the game, honestly, rather than United. But, yeah, there's no line you can draw from that to the goal. It was clearly very unlucky, and I guess if you add up the other ones, it would have been a hat-trick for Gabbiadini. But wasn't to be for them, and United... scored not long after that, and then the next one, and should have been in total control. But all the time, you kind of felt that they were vulnerable. Not only was there this massive gap between Herrera and Pogba, as the two sort of deeper midfield players, allowing Southampton players to run past them all the time, but I don't know what happened to our fullbacks, but neither of them had a particularly good day.
Well, I mean, listen, you say what happened to him. One of them is literally Marcus Rocco. So it's like, I don't think anything really has to happen to Marcus Rocco for him to be terrible at left back. He's been very good at centre back all season, but has he had a good game at left back for Man United?
Not too many, yeah. But United vulnerable down the other flank too, I thought. Valencia's been excellent this season, but he is not literally Marcus Rocco, but metaphorically he became Marcus Rocco for 90 minutes or so.
Yeah. I thought the centre-backs were dreadful as well, actually.
Yeah, especially Eric Bailly. I mean, you kind of... You know him for some composure, don't you? But he had one of his less composed days, I thought.
I also thought Smalling... I mean, Gabbiadini's finish was great for a second goal, but Smalling was just asleep. Like, he was kind of... He kind of almost seemed to be... even if you watch the replay, his facial expression, like the whole thing takes him so much by surprise. I don't. It's not like I know, you could say, oh, he should have done X, Y, and Z differently. But his whole approach seemed to be quite lackadaisical, really.
Of course, you have a hashtag agenda against Smalling now. You've decided
we have to
sell him. I mean, look, it's that kind of game that will prompt Mourinho to spend a large amount of money in the summer on a new centre-back, I'm sure.
Yeah. Because you'd think, like, you can kind of sort of almost say, okay, well, this is big game nerves or whatever for him. But yeah, there's just the whole collective of the back four just looked a complete shambles, and Southampton could kind of rip them apart at will down both flanks. Like you say, it wasn't just Rocco's side, although the first goal the offside goal came down Rocco's side, didn't it? And he very nearly gave away a penalty and would have got red carded in the process, probably. In the build-up to that non-goal.
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, it's not obvious that was a goal-scoring opportunity from that position of the pitch. But yes, he had a good attempt at taking the guy's legs out, didn't he? Just totally missed. And then I guess Mourinho would have made the Carrick change without the goal anyway. But the goal just before half-time kind of made it obvious that United needed some more protection in front of the back four.
Yeah, what did you make of the starting 11? When you saw it, what did you make of it?
Well, I guess reasonably predictable. He's gone for some energy in midfield. I mean, how many choices were there? There was a choice about whether Carrick could play or possibly Lingard, and which choices there were in wide areas with no Mkhitaryan. So, he has more often than not gone with Mata. We're going to make the assumption that Martial plays because he's been getting into some good form. Rashford's never been quite as good on the wing. Ibra obviously plays, so it doesn't leave too many choices, and it probably was a choice between Lingard and Carrick for one place in the team and Blint or Rocco for the other.
Yeah, and I feel like he almost... I don't think playing Lingard instead of Carrick was a mistake early on, really. I think it was worth a try, especially that 4-2-3-1's been working. But the Blint-Rocco decision was very odd indeed, I thought. Blint, you kind of now, retrospectively, it just looks like he was getting the Sergio Romero treatment, and he started the 2 Europa League games and the FA Cup game. But that didn't say anything about his place in the pecking order. I think, given how well he's been playing in those games, it was a very strange decision to play Rocco at left back because he's so bad there,
Yeah, Rocco's, when he came back into the team as centre back, he had a whole string of good performances. But yeah, not on the left. I do think that was an odd decision. Blint has been playing well in that. It's definitely his best position for United. I mean, I guess all of this underlines the fact that United will spend money on a left back in the summer. I mean, sure, it doesn't look anywhere near like coming back into the team. Stories doing the rounds, I guess, prompted by his agent that he's looking for a way out. It's not going to solve his problems if his problems are as previously reported. But I guess that will... and Jose doesn't like that very much, does he? Agents doing the negotiation about a place in the team. He's not going to take kindly to that. He's not going to speed Shaw's route to the team up by any means. So United will probably buy another left-back. And judging by Rocco's performance at Wembley, they need one too. Anyway, there's positive stuff. Shall we talk about the wonder that is Zlatan Ibrahimovic and that strike for the first goal?
When they were lining up, I was looking at it, and I think I said out loud to the person next to me, "You should really let Pogba take this one."
Yeah, well, we all make mistakes. Great. I think I said there's no way Zlatan would score 20 goals this season. Something like that.
Just expected it to go straight into the wall like all the others have all season long, but he didn't half pick his moment to find his free kick mojo, did he? What a goal.
Lovely strike, hit it really cleanly. I mean, not to take anything away from the strike, which is beautiful, but I do wonder whether Foster could have done better. He's taken a step the wrong way and then not moved quick enough. I wonder whether Big Dave mightn't have saved that.
I wonder whether Big Dave might not have saved the close-range header late on as well, because Forster does a weird thing with his hands when you watch that in slow motion, which is understandable. It's not like you would expect your keeper to save that. But if he'd just made one decision and gone with it instead of kind of slightly waving his hands in indecision, he might have even been able to stop it. But anyway, it definitely looked like he did he dive too early, or just kind of too much anticipation of the ball rather than actually looking at where it was going? I don't know.
For the free kick, he's just not got down quick enough, and he's gone one to the left and then just not moved across quick enough. I mean, look, Zlatan has hit it hard, no doubt, but that's a yard inside the post. I think we'd be a little disappointed if Dave hadn't done something about that. But hey, who cares? And then the next goal, lovely worked. And, we've criticised Jesse Lingard for his lack of composure. Not at Wembley.
The Jesse Lingard National Stadium at Wembley. They should sell him the naming rights. Just give them to him.
I mean, he's done a couple of dabs, then passed it into the corner. Just lovely.
A beautiful, beautiful moment. He had a terrible game. He was so bad. Everyone knows that I like Jesse Lingard a lot as a player, and I think he gives United some good stuff. And if he was 5% better, it would be wonderful. Because he was constantly giving the ball away and around the edge of the area, and it was kind of one of the big reasons we couldn't get a lot of interplay going around the area. But what a moment! And so, like you say, just pure composure, and the total opposite of his goal in the FA Cup final. He just scored all different sorts of goals at Wembley.
Yeah, home from home for him, which was very nice. But United continued to look like a mess at the back, and Southampton got that goal seconds before half time. I don't know whether it would have changed Mourinho's thinking much. Honestly, I'm quite sure, given the way he is, that he was thinking of making a change anyway, because of even at 2-0 up, it didn't look certain that United were, solid in that game, or clearly weren't. Clearly.
No, absolutely. And I was kind of surprised that he didn't change the left back at half time, really, because it just looked so obvious that the back four wasn't working. But I guess because the whole back four wasn't working, there was a kind of diffused responsibility, really, and just changing the left back might not have even done the job.
Southampton scored just before half time, then another one not long afterwards, make it 2-2, and they kind of deserved it, really. Yeah, and then hit a post after that. Before United got back into the game, and beautifully worked goal for the winner.
I've just looked it up, by the way. Jesse Lingard scored 10 goals for Man United. 3 of them at Wembley. That's nice. Ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, it looked to me, I was actually quite impressed with certain things about United as a collective. I was quite impressed by their resilience when it went to 2-2. I mean, it's slightly disgraceful that they let it get to that point. Mourinho said you saw the difference that freshness makes, because Southampton hadn't played for 15 days. And it did look like they were just a much fresher team than United. But I was quite impressed by how solid United got in the last 20 minutes of that game, and how much they ended up being the kind of dominant force in the game, really. Even though, over the course of the whole thing, they were outshot. Southampton had more possession than them, But by at the end, it kind of looked like United were the better side in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's right. And look, Mourinho does like to make excuses, doesn't he? He likes to get them in first. And the thing about freshness is true, because United played 4 games in 11 days or whatever, and Southampton hadn't played for ages. Fair enough, but real determination from United at the end. Nice build-up to score the goal. But yeah, they've been growing into that. It did look like United were on top towards the end. Lovely dinked ball from Herrera, who had a fine game, I thought. Because Romeo and Davis in Southampton's midfield, full of running and energy, aren't they? United needed to counter that, and Herrera's popped up, dinked the ball in for Zlatan to head it straight at the keeper, who thankfully dived out of the way. So
between the 70th and the 87th minute, when the goal was scored, United had 60% of possession and 6 shots to Southampton's 2, which sort of backs up that thinking that it felt like that. As a friend of the show, James, said before, he put on Twitter in a tweet that has done big numbers. So Zlatan heads the ball away. There's a shot at goal which Zlatan saves with his head, and it goes behind for a corner. He heads the corner away, The ball kind of comes back, by which time he's got a little bit further up the pitch, and it's fed to him to start the counter-attack. He finds Martial, then Martial does his business, and Zlatan waits, then makes his run into the box just at the move. I thought Martial did really well. He got maybe a tiny bit lucky, but I think he might have almost meant what happened. And it was so smart of him to pick out Herrera instead of shooting himself for that goal. And just a beautiful pass from Herrera, so perfectly weighted. And as Karate Jesus on Twitter pointed out, you can hear the roar of expectation before the goal goes in as the whole end realises it's coming to Ibrahimovic unmarked in the 6-yard box.
Yeah, that's Ibra all over, wasn't it, that goal? Real massive performance from United, from Ibra for United. A couple of fine goals for him and the winning goal in a cup final. And he did like to make it all about him after the game, didn't he? He said, that's my 32nd trophy. And then he tweeted about it. Then he did a couple of interviews about it. But
he stopped 3 times in the mix zone. Most players don't stop once. He stopped once for the Sky cameras. Then he stopped for local and a couple of national journalists, and then he stopped again for some international journalists. And he gave some amazing quotes. He kind of said, "I'm a lion," which was good. And then he was asked where he keeps all his medals, and he goes, "I've got a separate house for them."
Nice.
Really,
I reckon he's
copy.
United's second best free transfer ever.
Hold on, let me see if I can work out who's the best.
I'll give you a few clues. See if
No,
you get
go
it.
on.
So he played for what you might consider a rival. In fact, he was kind of aggressively anti-United. Signed on a free transfer, became a real kind of fan favourite, I'd say, even to the point of trolling the opposition, which has kind of solidified his place as a club legend. You got it yet?
I'm really embarrassed. This is going to be so obvious when you tell me who it is.
All right, it's Duncan Castles.
Okay, good. That's good.
No, I'm kidding, obviously. Yeah. Clearly Zlatan, isn't it? There can't have been a better free transfer for United than Zlatan. 25 goals.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And for all the talk about, the games, I mean, there was the dry spell and there's been the games where we've kind of needed him to score because otherwise no one else was going to because of the way the team was set up. But ultimately, it's been a phenomenally successful experiment. Mourinho said only a silly player would come to England at 35. He was asked, why did you kind of gamble on Zlatan? What do you think it was about you? And he said, well, first of all, he's played for me before. And second of all, only a silly player at the age of 35 would come to England when he's got all the options available to him that he does have, if he's not absolutely certain he's going to be a success. So he said that essentially he didn't deserve any of the credit for it. Zlatan deserved the credit. And as soon as Zlatan was confident that he could do it, he was confident in his ability to do it. And he's done it. He's doing it, and it's beautiful. Mourinho was also asked, remember a few months ago, he said basically that the contract extension was all but done. And this seems a lot less certain now, but he did say, look, I've never begged a player to stay in my whole career. When Zlatan left me to go to Barcelona, I was very sad, but I didn't beg him to stay. But maybe Man United fans could go around his house and convince him.
Send the education committee round, right?
Yeah, so I don't know whether he was specifically referring to Man United fans in black balaclavas, but it's
worked in the past, hasn't it?
Yes,
Quite good,
exactly.
100% success rate on that particular tactic. Not that I'm recommending it. I'm thinking Zlatan might confront them as well, and he's probably hard enough to. There's a 1-year option on the deal. I guess it's not a two-way 1-year option in that case if United are concerned about not being able to invoke it.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens. And Zlatan almost seemed to slightly equivocate on it. And I wonder if that's just to do with his body, because he must be exhausted. And he looked it for a change. He actually looked exhausted at the end of that game.
Yeah.
Which he almost never does.
He already turned China down. What does he need a few more millions for?
I don't even think it's about money, though, is it?
No.
I think it's about whether he thinks he can do it again another season like this.
Yeah, no, true. And if it was about money, the difference between earning 15 million a year and 30 million a year, it's not life-changing.
No, it's not. And if it was about money, he wouldn't have come to United. Like, I'm sure we're paying him very, very well, but it's not the move that you make just for money, is it, at that point in your career?
No. So after the game, Mourinho said, this is not a platform, it's just another win. And but I'm not sure that's true, is it? Surely, he's going to keep his job, I presume, even if United don't make it into the top four, which is still possible. And it's going to give confidence to the players. It's great for the fans. It after last year's FA Cup win, it gives a sense of momentum around the club again. The sponsors will like it. It is a platform. Yes,
it is. But I wonder whether some of his kind of, pretty downbeat shtick after the game was to do with the fact that United played terribly. And maybe he's doing that kind of slightly faux respectful thing, or genuine respectful thing to the opposition manager, where he doesn't want to be seen to be crowing when United have played not so well. But he said it's another one ticked off the list. It's something that's been on our minds, which we can now put out of our minds about the game rather than a platform, which is a kind of interesting way to approach it. And I think he's also maybe a little bit trying to moderate against expectations, because we're still in all these different trophies, but now we're still in 3 competitions. Obviously we're not going to win the league, but the 2 other cup competitions have kind of scuppered each other a little bit, haven't they? Because we got drawn against Rostov, which is not a bad draw in terms of the teams we're playing, but it means we're going to Russia on the Thursday night before we play Chelsea on the Monday night in the FA Cup. Yeah, I mean, it's brutal, right? So which one does he prioritise there? Chelsea clearly going to be favourites for that game anyway, and then a 5-hour flight or whatever it is, when you're going to land back in the early hours of Friday morning, leaving 1 day rest and no preparation. Horrible. It's really tough. And, of course, Mourinho would probably emotionally want to prioritise the Chelsea game, but it's just not an option. You have to prioritise the Europa League because of the Champions League place that's up for grabs, and because it's just so much more of a winnable fixture. Not that I don't think we could beat Chelsea. I do. If we had a fair wind and a clear run at them, I don't even think I'd be that worried about it. Not like massively overconfident or anything, but just I don't think it's the end of the world playing them in isolation, but it's going to be incredibly tricky given the way the fixtures fall. It was lovely to see the celebrations. The players looked absolutely delighted, like properly over the moon, and it really reminded me of 2005, the League Cup win that Rooney and Ronaldo won their first trophy together. Yeah, I mean, there's a proper celebration. It looked like they had a great time in the dressing room afterwards. All the players joined in, even those that were injured or not selected for the squad. It's the kind of thing that bonds the team together. Yeah, I don't know whether that means that United are now going to go on a few years of winning stuff or not, but it's definitely a positive step on the way. Rooney, by the way, lovely to see it looked very genuine, his delight for his teammates and stuff. There was a good bit in the first half where Rooney and Carrick were warming up on the touchline, and they basically just stopped warming up and started stretching next to each other for ages. Stretching being a strong word, especially on Rooney's part. He was just sort of standing there, and they were just having a lovely old chat on the Wembley sidelines, watching the team that they've won so many trophies for on their way to winning another trophy. It was like the old chaps having it was like Statler and Waldorf on the sideline. This is rubbish. It was genuine, wasn't it? Yeah, I think so. His jump and punch in the air to celebrate United's winner, I'm sure. And he didn't get on the pitch, but he's also apparently turned down a move to China during the middle of the winter, which not sensible all round, I think, really. And I presume he will leave in the summer, and we'll see if he manages to score goal 251 before then. Let's see. Given that there's only one game, we've got loads of time to take extra Rantcast questions. Shall we fire away?
All right, if we have to.
At Derry Aldrich says, Rude or Ibra?
Well, Rue did it for more seasons, of course. Ibra's had one. Let's park that question till the end of next season, shall we?
What about if you take their careers as a whole?
Well, Ibra has probably had a better career, certainly won more trophies. Rue did all right when he went to Real Madrid. He didn't win a lot of trophies at United, did he? He was unfortunate enough to not have a great team around him when he was here. He scored a phenomenal amount of goals in Holland, but then again, that means absolutely nothing, does it?
Zlatan's phenomenal number of goals in France.
Yeah. So, Ibra's had a better career.
Yeah, absolutely. What's more enjoyable, asks at Econes, Zlatan and Pogba on the field or Zlatan and Pogba in an interview?
No, it's good. Both of them. They seem to play off each other in both scenarios.
Yeah, it was so... Pogba said, he was asked about Zlatan, he said, that's why we bought him. And Zlatan's like, didn't buy me, mate. I came on a free. They bought you. It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. At Borkarabijit says, how long do you think Mata will stay at United? I think until he retires as chief executive and they rename the stadium after him.
Well, no. But no, he's going to stay for a while. He's on a new contract, didn't he? Or am I making that up?
Don't know. I would.
Look, in any case, he plays more often than not.
If we sign Neymar and Griezmann this summer, though, I don't think he's going to stay.
We'll see. They're quite good, though, isn't it?
It would.
As we mentioned last week, I am in Barcelona, so I'm going to the game on Wednesday night. So that is against Sporting Gijon. So by the time you listen to this, Barcelona will have won 8-0 or something. They're not in good shape at the moment, actually, are they?
No, that's why Neymar wants to come to a team on the up. Apparently Mourinho's been on the phone to Neymar. I can't imagine a world in which we sign Neymar this summer, but, things happen in life.
Well, I hope they do the due diligence properly and get their accounting right and all of that, because due diligence, make sure he's not going to prison before we buy him. It'd be rather unfortunate. And get the accounting right, because there's been some dodgy stuff with Neymar in the past.
At Andy United, if Ed Woodward can do anything, it's get the accounting right. At Andy United, much as to our, sadly, Ed Woodward's really good at accounting. He basically nearly destroyed our club through accounting, but then ended up making it sort of work. Where would we be now, asks at Andy United, if Zlatan had signed for us rather than PSG? I'm going to say a pretty similar place, really. I don't...
Yeah, and no idea. I mean, one player doesn't make a team. Evidence being Rude, year 2001 to 2005.
Yeah, no, absolutely. At that MASH guy says, is Jose's long-term plan 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3? Keeps persisting even though it doesn't work against anyone even half decent. I guess he means with the 4-2-3-1, but I actually think there's been a lot of games where the 4-2-3-1's really helped us, and I think having both in the locker is good.
Yeah, I mean, all season long it's been a trade-off. And it's not a trade-off between these two systems per se, but between the players United have. So can we get the best out of Pogba when he's playing slightly deeper? He does less giffable stuff when he's in a deeper position. Can't get us forward quite as freely without there being an impact on United's defence. I mean, he's fine there, and I think Tarek wrote a piece on the blog this week to say he's adapted well to that position and now he's better in that role. And in playing a 4-2-3-1, United can play a playmaker. There's quite a few players in the squad, obviously, who can play that role. It helps Zlatan because it helps players get nearer to him. 4-3-3 liberates Pogba. Allows United to push players from wide areas in support of Zlatan, and so there's good arguments for both, I'd say. Yeah,
and we saw the benefits of the 4-3-3 and Pogba in the last 20 minutes of the game at the League Cup. I hardly looked at Twitter during the game, and then afterwards I saw loads of people really having a go at Pogba's performance, and I just thought it was bizarre. I don't think he was amazing for maybe the first half of that game, but especially late on in the second half, he really was phenomenal. Anyway, the discussion around him remains bizarre.
It does, but it's about expectations. And expectations that the world's most expensive player should be the best player on the pitch all the time. And often he is, but he doesn't do the flashy stuff. Like, if he'd bang one in top corner now and again, it would change many minds, I'm sure.
At Riggsy_Red Devil says, do you think the Jones-Rocco defensive partnership looks better than the Bailly-Smalling one?
Well, it probably did. Although, I'm not sure we're comparing apples for apples, really. It's United at a different stage in the season, been playing different opponents. But Smalling's definitely had a very uncertain season.
At AB5Y, friend of the show, says, Mourinho thinks begging is beneath him, but is okay with United fans doing it. Should Woodward wait till the end of the season to fire him? It's good. I think he was having a little jokey jokes. Did Zlatan get lucky? Asks at Steve Davey 71. Should Forster have done better? Straight at him. Textbook says low and to the corners.
Yeah, I think the power's done Forster, but he was slow on both of those Zlatan goals, I think.
Yeah, and like I said, his hands do a strange in and out wave motion instead of like one smooth motion.
He was doing a Donald Trump impression, wasn't he?
Small hands. Wow, is that the longest we've got without mentioning him in a show? No, I think we got to near the end of the show the other week. Who should be captain next season if Rooney and Carrick leaves, says at Pranav Mehta, who also says a very nice thing about our show. So thanks, Pranav. Who should be captain next season if Rooney or Carrick leave?
Well, Smalling's had it a couple of times, but he might not be there or is not certain to be in the team. And I guess you give it to Zlatan, don't you?
I guess so, yeah. I think next season you give it to Zlatan, then he passes it to Herrera. That makes sense. At Megan Atterbury says, can you get Zlatan's number for me? Sorry, Meg, I don't have it.
1-800-ZLAT.
At LHS_TCM, any love for Ibra? Oh, so much love for Ibra. Mr. T75 saying, who will be United's long-term left-back? It doesn't rhyme with Boho. No, I think we know it's going to be someone new, don't we? And at Stan_Chow says, who will fill Zlatan and Carrick's boots?
Well, I don't know, but it's not always like for like, is it? And I think we've seen that over the years with big personalities from United who needed to be replaced. It's very, very infrequent that United just go out and buy a replacement player. We lost Robson. Not sure that we filled that hole with the same type of player. Obviously, Keenan's had decent United careers. Lost Keane, never really replaced him like for like. If Carrick was Keane's replacement, then maybe we'll get someone completely different to replace Carrick. We lost Cantona, Teddy Sheringham, not the same kind of player at all, and so on. So it's about the collective, and United will upgrade in a few positions over the summer. One of them will be a new central midfielder, at least one or two, and it may well be a more physical type central midfielder than Carrick. There aren't too many direct replacements for Carrick out there in European football. I mean, Verratti would be the closest, but he would cost a phenomenal amount of money.
Yeah, Statman Dave was saying that Fabinho has been playing in centre midfield for Monaco and as a kind of slightly Carrick-esque quality to his passing and stuff, which was interesting because United obviously linked it with him as a right-back option, weren't they? So, but Mourinho loves a specialist.
Yes, I'm quite sure a number of clubs around Europe will be pillaging Monaco's team over the summer.
They've got this striker, right? He's got a really good goal in the Champions League. Maybe we should get him to replace
Absolutely ruined John Stones, didn't he? Right.
Did we talk about this last week?
Yeah, we probably did, but I still can't get it off. I take 6 months off if I was John Stones. I'd think about retirement.
Falcao should have taken 6 months off a couple of years ago, but instead he sort of accidentally took 6 months off coming to us. So we have got the more sort of run-of-the-mill fare of a home league game against Bournemouth, but this is massive. I mean, I barely remember the last time we played in the Premier League, but Liverpool lost again, leaving that window of opportunity that's been keeping on cracking open, and we just get our fingers trapped in it when we try and climb through it all season long. But surely, Ed, we are not going to muck up a home tie with Bournemouth.
Well, I mean,
Saturday.
Bournemouth, who just can't stop losing at the moment, and leak goals all over the place. So when did they lose last time out? They lost to West Brom. They lost to City, didn't they? Got spanked by Everton. I think they lost at home to Palace as well. So, shocking run of form. I don't know. Will they be all right this season? It's not clear that they will be, really. 20 something points. Been dropping down the table. Eddie Howe under a bit of pressure, and it's all because they can't stop conceding goals.
They haven't won a game this year, by the looks of things, unless I've missed something on this list. Yeah, they last won a game on the 31st of December when they beat Swansea 3-0 at the kind of the depth of Swansea's despair. Since then, they've drawn with Arsenal 3-3. That was a very weird game, wasn't it? At Bournemouth, lost 3-0 to Millwall in the cup game they threw away, but then lost in the league game they threw it away for. And they've got 2 draws this year, and everything else has been a loss. And they're not particularly good on the road. Like you said, Everton put 6 past them at Goodison Park, and we're scoring goals and not conceding many goals. And it's going to take a disaster for United to mess this up. I mean, it could happen, but it would be a disaster.
I mean, I think that they're the kind of team that Gary Neville would hate. They're all a bit tippy-tappy, but it doesn't really go anywhere, and they lose goals in the transition all the time. And you can expect United to do that. Bournemouth will have some possession at some points, not necessarily all of it, and United will score goals on the break against them. I'm sure. They seem to have zero confidence, especially if they take a lead, they lose it all the time. Their back four makes a ton of errors. It's a real mess. Against Arsenal, they were just so mentally weak, and then when they got spanked by Everton. And at some point they got back into the game, didn't they? After Everton scored a couple of goals, 2 or 3 goals, they were up, but just didn't have the mental fortitude to hold on. Just kept making mistakes. I'd be, if I was a Bournemouth fan, I'd be worried looking at how they're playing at the moment, and I'd expect United to win this one reasonably comfortably.
I think Mkhitaryan being there will be massive because if there's a player you want in the team against a team that loses loads of goals in transition, it's Mkhitaryan, because him and Herrera form such an incredibly effective pressing unit in the opposition half. They just steal the ball far up the pitch all the time, and that combination could be really devastating against a team that's not very good in those situations. The one thing I guess we'd have to watch out for is just if Bournemouth get kind of backs to the wall, if Eddie Howe decides that this is the time he's going to finally give up on his, on his footballing philosophy and park the bus. But he has shown no signs of doing that so far this season. So
they're not even set up to do that, even if they wanted to. No, I think they'll come out and they will try and attack United, and I expect that to play into United's hands. Yeah,
and we really just desperately need it to, don't we? Because the run-in towards the end of the season gets really, really difficult. We need to put together. I mean, it's hard for us to put together a run in the league at the moment because we're playing so few league games. But we do just really need to put a run together whenever we do get the opportunity, because. I mean, it's kind of all or nothing, really. It's genuinely the case that this is a must-win game, because if we win this, at least temporarily, we would go 4th, I think, because Arsenal and Liverpool play each other later that day. I think there's almost no way, and unless we win 9-0 and Liverpool and Arsenal draw, we're not going to stay in 4th. But we would leapfrog Liverpool if we win this, unless they beat Arsenal. So, there's just nothing in it. There's 5 points between us and second, and we've got a game in hand, and it's just got to win the games. It's really reductive and obvious, but I don't really know what else to say about it other than we really need to win.
No, and you do worry about the run-in and all those tough games that are coming. United is going to have to improve the record against the top 6.
Do you think that we learned anything about the quality or character of United from that League Cup final? Because I was thinking before that game, we need a proper display in a big game. After the Liverpool game, which came on the back of all those good wins, we kind of fell apart at the first sign of real pressure. And there's an extent to which we did here too, but But then they did show the character and quality, not just character, but quality, to come through and win the game. And they are under quite difficult physical circumstances, given how much football they've played lately. But yeah, I wonder what you make of what that taught us about where we're at.
Well, there are some defensive weaknesses. We don't always get the balance right. There's plenty of mental strength to keep pushing on. I guess I'm hoping those two things don't balance themselves out in those big games, and that United can find a way to defend better. Although it's not I don't want to characterise that as bad defending all season, because it definitely hasn't been. But also create enough chances at the other end when they do defend better in those big games. It's definitely going to decide. Games against Arsenal, Spurs, City. Did we play Liverpool again?
No, I think we played them twice.
Might have played them twice, yeah. So Arsenal, Liverpool and Spurs and Chelsea. Big games.
And big season-defining games. And in a way, these smaller home games... home games against smaller sides have defined our season so far in that the failure to win them is why we're not further up the table. So, even though there is no logical reason why a Bournemouth team in absolutely terrible form shouldn't get destroyed by a United team with the quality we've got, I still find it really difficult to be fully confident that it's going to go well, because there's just been situations like that a lot this season where we haven't done the job.
Yeah, I mean, obviously more cup games coming up, and we talked about that Europa FA Cup double, a real pain. It's Bournemouth, then Southampton again, then Borough this month. Then home game against Everton, a big one, that one, I guess. Everton in decent form this season, away at Sunderland. There's plenty of winnable games, and then West Brom after that, before we get to Chelsea, right? You kind of almost feel United have to win all of those league games before that Chelsea league game.
Right. I've just looked at the calendar. Been merrily here doing a preview of Bournemouth and thinking, oh, well, that's kind of nearly the end of the show. But I think we're playing the first leg of Rostov this week, aren't we? Not this week, but like after the Bournemouth game. So I guess we should talk a little bit about that, because, it's the 9th of March. I thought we had a week between the Bournemouth game and then another league game, but we don't. It's Bournemouth, then Rostov, Chelsea, Rostov. So I guess we should talk a little bit about Rostov. Ed, what do you know about them?
You absolute... That's what I know about them.
They're not doing very well in the Russian league.
They're Russian.
Oh, yeah, they are Russian. Yeah, they are Russian.
No, that's what I know about them. They're Russian.
Russian league table. I'm Googling this to get the facts right. I think they're 5th. This is before I look at the league, because I think I looked...
Well, it's about right for a UEFA Cup side, isn't it?
7th. They are 7th in the Russian league. I think we should win this game based on the fact that we are theoretically much better than the team that's 7th in the Russian league.
How long's the flight to...
Well, it's right on the west of Russia, I think.
Yeah.
So it won't be as long as it maybe could be, but still got to be 5 hours, I'd say.
It's and it's just a turnaround that's the problem. With that kind of length of flight, you don't get back until the very early hours, and which ruins your next day. So there's little or no training in between matches, and of course, the standard of the Premier League higher than the standard in the Russian Premier League. Rostov not playing well. Rostov, no big names to mention. I'm definitely not a football hipster enough to watch mid-table Russian football. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure I've never heard of anyone in the Rostov squad. I'm just going down the list and looking. 37-year-old Spanish defender called Cesar Navas. I don't think I know who that is. Yeah, no idea. They've not got anyone who scored more than 4 goals in the league so far. That's Dimitri Polos, 4 goals and 5 assists. He's the danger man. Got to watch out for Dimitri Polos.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I have to say, concerned about his dangerousness.
Yeah, we're playing Rostov on Thursday. Good luck to everyone that's going out there. Stay safe.
Is that whether Thursday's game's away? Yeah, it is away the first leg.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's away then Chelsea. That's the really nasty thing.
Woof.
Yeah,
that's the bitch. Do you know David Bentley once played for FC Rostov.
Did he really? Yeah. When you say once, do you mean like he literally played one game and then it was like, man, I can't be doing with this?
I don't know. He did.
Okay.
Fun fact.
It's a good fun fact. It's the only one that I've got. If I'd thought that we were doing a preview of Rostov, might have done like fractionally more research than this. We got to predict scores because we always do. I'm gonna
3-0 against Bournemouth. Okay. I'm going for.
Oh, that's nice. That would be lovely. I'm going for 2-0 against Bournemouth. And the roster. I mean, I think it's abundantly clear that we do not have the requisite information to make a prediction of the score in the Rostov game. So let's do it anyway.
Has never stopped us having an invalid opinion in the past, isn't it?
No, absolutely not.
I'm going to go for 1-1. I think he'll make a few changes.
Do you think so? You don't think he's going to go all out for that game? Considering he hardly made any changes for the away leg in Saint-Etienne when we were 3-0 up.
Yeah, no, about 4 or 5 changes. So, let's and he has done that.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, a 2-1 win, a 2-1 win to Man United. Just because it's nice when we win, isn't it? So I'm going to predict a nice thing happening just for fun. But what I will definitely predict is that there will be more content for Patreon backers, including extra Q&A segment this month. Stay tuned if you're a backer. If you're not, head over to rankcast.com, patreon.com/rankcast. We should also say that the interviews and stuff that we've had, I mean, we haven't had any today, but we had 2 last week. All of those are made possible by the fact that we've got a bit of extra time we can put into the show because of the Patreon. So massive thanks to everyone who's supported us there. If you want to get hold of us, I'm on Twitter at UTDRantcast. Ed is on Twitter at UnitedRant. We're on Facebook, or at least stuff gets auto-posted to Facebook, and once every 6 months I think, better look at the Facebook. So if you're not a backer, see you next week. If you are, stay tuned.
See you then.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.